Good morning, St. Richards. This is Father Ben. I'm here in the Limler Garden, that beautiful space shared by the church and the school. As you can see over my shoulder, the tulips are blooming. The trees have the buds of new leaves forming on them. Also, just visible above the hedge, you might be able to make out the outlines of a dragon. There is a metal sculpture here of a dragon permanently fixed. A symbol and a reminder of all that is good and all that is strong and all that is worth our pride in this wonderful school. I come to you today with a message about Easter. Easter, you may recall from chapel and from your own faith communities, is the story of Jesus overcoming death, of him entering into new life, into the endless life of God. Now, we don't have proof of this story. We have stories only, accounts of what people found on that first Easter morning. My favorite one, and I think one of the most intriguing ones, is the story that comes to us from the Gospel of John. In it, a woman named Mary of Magdalene goes to find Jesus, goes to find the place where he was buried. She goes there to, we might say, pay her respects. And when she gets there, she finds an empty space where there should have been the body of Jesus. And she turns around, she is confused, she is sad, she is heartbroken. And she sees who she thinks is a gardener. And she asks him, "Where have they placed my Lord? Where have they placed my teacher?" And Mary does not recognize who it is until he speaks her name. "Mary," Jesus says. "Teacher," Mary says in reply to Jesus. So at the heart of this story, of this great mystery of the Christian faith, is a story about a student going in search of her teacher, and of her teacher calling her by name. The promise of the resurrection is endless life, to be sure. It is the promise that life will win out over anything that threatens to diminish it. And for us, it is also the story of a student and a teacher. It is the story of being known by name. Just as your teachers know you by name, so does God know and call you by your name. Rest assured that though we are apart during this time, you are not forgotten. You remain as beloved by your teachers and your students as you were when we were in session together. And know this, especially on this Easter day, that God too knows you by name, calls you by name, calls you to turn and see the world ablaze with life, blooming, flowering, fragrant with the promises that all will be well. May the blessing of God be upon you this day and remain with you always.